You're tuned in to another episode of Mecca Music on Get Yours Radio at www.getyoursworld.com. I'm Doc. Today I'm joined by my co-host and partner, Uncle E, and we have a very special guest for you today. Multi-platinum selling producer, Grammy-nominated, legacy goes back all the way to the early 90s, from the UMCs to producing for Wu, Busta Rhymes, countless other projects that he's done, and he's working on a new project now. So we're speaking today with Fantom of the Beat, perhaps better known to some as Haas G of the UMCs, or maybe you didn't know that. At any rate, let's get into it. Oh, you've got over 25 years in the game in hip-hop music. What are your opinions or thoughts initially, or what thoughts have you had just as relates to the changes that music has gone through over the years, as specifically relates to hip hop?
Basically, any hip hop connoisseur, anybody involved in the game understands that hip hop, it starts out one way, and as the years go, I would say every 10 years or so it evolves. And the music, it changes. It changes over the last years. It's been changing drastically. I mean, I think it's been even quicker than 10 years. But me personally, I'm a 90s golden age era dude. So, we're always more prone to what we come from. We like it, just a bit more. I think that right now, as the time went on, there's a lot of shallowness in hip hop right now. It's not, we started out with, hip hop being a street teacher music, and it more or less reflected the lives of the kids growing up in the urban cities and, the cultures. Nowadays, more or less everything is, very commercialized. I don't really see too many outstanding, relatable topics as far as life is concerned. It's all about the parties. It's all about the girls. It's all about money. And there's no real life lessons going on. So, I mean, that to say, I think it's all dumbed down right now. And it's not everything that's dumbed down, but for the most part, it's dumbed down, and it's really set up for the corporate world to make money. All the commercial labels to make money.
Word.
That's why you see nowadays a lot of these. There's music all over the place. A lot of kids is coming out with their YouTube channels and their SoundCloud channels, but that's where you find majority of the meat. The hip hop that got something to say.
Right.
So there's outlets for it all, but as far as the commercial music that's going on right now, it doesn't appeal to me as much.
So let me ask you this, because I think that's a really good point, and as someone who has been so close to the music and so close to the culture for this entire time, and someone, when you did come out earlier with the UMCs and whatnot, you guys had Blue Cheese, y'all had One to Grow On, Makes Me Feel Good, You Got My Back, all of these real positive and uplifting and empowering messages. So another thing that I noticed about you specifically as far as producers go is you've done a lot, but you haven't been one of these guys that's really been out there in the limelight. Do you think that was by design? Do you think any of that was related to the messages that y'all were putting out in the 90s?
Personally, I think it was a few things that added to, us not blowing the way that you see a lot of these other cats blowing. And that has a lot to do with, one, when we came into the game, we came in on our own merit. So
right.
we were green, you know what I mean? We didn't know the business as well. So we were actually, it was like, on the job training for us. And just the learning process was difficult enough because we were fresh to it. We didn't really understand the purpose of management, the purpose of business management, the purpose of having a good machine behind you. and we got lost somewhere in there. Not to say that we couldn't have acclaimed more fame, but it took that toll. It took that route. Whereas we just didn't make it past a certain threshold. I think what we did do was we established ourselves, and we established that we were good, and we established that we could get a #1 record. We established that we could get gold plaques, get platinum plaques. But as time changed and the music changed, like I said, it was evolution. So what we were doing at that time was getting phased out, and it became, it became a scene of nobody was interested in hearing certain things. The people were ready to just hear partying and, making money, and it was just a whole different topic set for the newer kids.
I got you. So I got another question for you. Just the UMCs having come out when you guys did, it's been said before that you really can't contemplate the Wu without thinking about the UMCs as sort of a predecessor. And I know you've done a lot of work with like Inspector Deck, Ghostface, Raekwon. What can you tell us about like that Staten Island energy, that unique energy that y'all all seem to carry? Like, is it something in the water? Is it something in the chemtrails out there? Like, what is it? A unique deli that serves something on the side that's like that special sauce? Like,
oh man. Well, let me give you one better.
All right.
If people didn't know, Staten Island is comprised of mostly people from out of the borough. So everybody was from different parts of New York, as far as the rappers were concerned. We had Meth, Long Island, you had us, Brooklyn, you had everybody was just from either Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island. And we all meshed out there. So out there living, it was a different kind of living. It wasn't like a inner city setting. It was more of a rural setting. We grew up with enough trees. We grew up with paths. Right. We grew up with snakes. We grew up with animals roaming free on the island. So right. we had more of a I don't want to say country setting, but it was more relaxed. We grew up riding dirt bikes, and just hanging out, having fun. We was doing all those old school games, out there. So the way we grew, it added some sort of flavor to our music because we was carefree, We didn't. It didn't feel too. Pressure. Too much pressure on us. We had the lay of the land. So obviously that kind of reflected in our music. You know what I mean? We was, we called ourselves street, but we were more just, doing our wilding out thing on our music. We was having fun with what we was doing. And okay. I think that's what accredited it to the way our Staten Island slang came out. And if you notice, we all called it slang. So we were being creative with the way we were coming out. Everything was a whole creative process. You see how Wu, the first thing that they wanted to do was, let's base our stuff on some kung fu flicks.
Word.
UMCs was based on, let's just have the colorful gear, the colorful apparel. You know what I mean? We're gonna be fly like that. So a lot of that was accredited to the way we grew up on Staten Island, and we had a sound of our own. We didn't mimic anybody.
Right.
We came up with our own sound, our own flavor. All the beat makers that were from out there, we were grungy with the beats. We loved the old records. We loved the records that was cracking, and we were sampling all of that. So, that's what a lot of it was credited to.
I love it. You actually, go ahead, E.
Yeah, no, I wanted to kind of just ask you a question as far as what we're talking about with Staten Island in particular, because it felt at the time when you guys came out, like I'm out in Long Island myself, and
right.
You know, like the buzz that you guys had was pretty big. I mean, of course, you know all those hits that Doc mentioned, they all were very successful, and
right.
But at one point, and this is what I want to ask you, correct me, you know, if I'm right or wrong, but at one point it seemed that it almost had something to do with the fact that you guys were coming out of Staten Island, that it didn't sort of grab even more attention than it should have. And it seemed as if, like, when the Wu came out, maybe because of the style that they came out and what they would, you know, the type of music they were doing, it was like they sort of really put the stamp for Staten Island. You know, is that accurate in your perspective?
From my perspective, somewhat.
Actually, hold on. I don't mean to cut you. What I left out too is what I mean is from all the other boroughs, like the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, and even Long Island, seemed like they weren't looking at Staten Island and considering Staten Island to be official when it came to the music.
You're right. You're definitely right. And that was part of the formula that the Wu used in order to make it look bigger than life. It was the fact that they traveled with 200 people to a show. You know what I mean? It was the fact that they knew they had a grasp on promotion already. You know, first of all, you got to know that UMCs came before Wu. So, like I say once again, it's always the leader who's going to take the blunt force. You know what I mean? And at the time, and if the leader don't get through, I'm sure, you know, the second one's coming, they're going to get through finally, you know, the way that it should have been, because they was taking lessons from what we was doing already. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So by that time, they already learned. You know, we was coming back with lessons for them, you know, to put on their table so they could learn from what our mistakes were. So by that time, they already realized, yo, we got to have an established radio guy on our team. We got to have the right type of label who's looking for this type of stuff, you know what I mean, that's not going to mess up with the marketing and the promotions, you know, and we got to come fortified. So if we band together 8-9 rappers who all got their own following, the numbers are going to be ridiculous, you know what I mean, and everybody's going to want to team up. Everybody's going to want to join up. So they were a force to reckon with when they came out of Staten Island. And the whole Staten Island was behind them because, like I said, out of all 8-9 rappers, each one of them had their own following, their own set, their own teams. So once you band all of them together, you got a team of 30 people. So-and-so got a team of 30 people. This one got a team of 20, 30 people. You put all those numbers together and everybody's joined for the same cause. That whole thing is going to look like a movie. It's going to look bigger than life, you know, and that's exactly what it was. So off of that was a movement that nobody saw before. So, yeah, that's going to make noise out there. You know, we just crossed the boat from Staten Island and go right into Manhattan, but we in there like 200 deep, you know? So even when Wu was doing what they was doing, we was still right there with them, you know? So that was the method that was used, and then that's why it looked so big to, you know, all the other boroughs.
Right, gotcha.
And the industry.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true. Now, were you or Kim, prior to becoming UMCs, were either one of you doing something within, you know, making any kind of noise within the music industry prior to UMCs?
Well, yeah, both of us were. Kim actually was acting. He was acting while we were in school, and me, I had just moved from Brooklyn. So I'm originally from Brooklyn, and I was DJing. So, you know, we was into the whole B-boy culture, DJing, dancing, acting. We were choreographing dances. That's how we got out into the industry, because we was choreographing for Latifah's dances. We was at all the sound factory parties. We was where everybody were, you know what I mean, who were all trying to come up in this music. So that's how our connects were strong inside the industry itself. And, you know, we just grew from there. We finally formed a group. We formed like 2 or 3 groups prior to UMCs, but it was always me and Kim in the group until we narrowed it down to like just us 2 and became UMCs. And from there, you know, everything was just sprouting. So we just kept it moving from that point.
Cool, gotcha.
Okay. So I would like to get a little bit more into you individually, Haas. It's clear from your production style, like you have a very unique voice from a production point of view. It's pretty clear that you listen to all kinds of different music. So I'd like to ask you, besides your project, the Audiodrome project, what do you listen to? What are you listening to today?
Oh man, my music ranges. Like at first, I'm gonna tell you, I don't got no disrespect or any hate on anything that's going on today. I feel like I said before, it's only evolution, and you know, it has to take that chance. It has to make that transformation. But what I really listen to is, you know, I got I got a collection of just anything from the 40s, 50s, 60s on up.
Wow.
And, you know, it'd be days that I just listen to those records. I don't even, you know, listen to the radio. I don't get into the radio. I'll sit down, have, you know, take a little glass of wine, put my headphones on, listen to, you know, some Syl Johnson. I like my Al Green.
Yep.
I like going back. I like my Ann Peebles. You know, I like just digging through the crates and listening. And then that's how I get my creative ideas as well.
That's what's up.
So it ranges, you know. I don't have any one preference. You know, I go from soul to rock to electro, you know, whatever I'm in the mood for.
That's what's up. And so you know, you've done, like I said, so much work, everything from, you know, those guys from the Wu that I mentioned, you know, Inspector Deck, GFK, Raekwon, to like Busta Rhymes, to, you know, Lil Kim and 50 Cent. So Magic Stick was a massive commercial hit. I would say even bigger than Apollo Kids, which, you know, all of us really loved, but Magic Stick was a massive commercial hit. Did you see that coming when you were making it?
When I was making that record, I'm gonna tell you a true story. I was in the crib, and you know when you're producing, sometimes you have your friends around you in the studio, you working, and I had probably like about three or four different friends that were there. You know, I like to keep a lot of non-judgmental people around me. You know, non-biased. This way, you know, when I do make something and I want to test it out, I want those true, honest opinions.
That's what's up.
And I made that record, and you know, 2 of them told me trash it. I'm not gonna lie. They said that ain't it. You might as well trash that one. And me being me, I try not to throw anything away, because I know that if I made it and I was feeling it, there's a lane for it, you know. Okay. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, you know. It might not even be a rap artist. It could be, you know, I'm thinking I'm making it for rap, but it's for a pop artist. Who knows? Right. But I held on to the record, and I don't know. I guess it was a time where I had to shop some tracks, and what I did was my cousin was working for 50 as his DJ at that time. So, you know, I just took the shot, and I threw him like 5 tracks. And 50 picked that one, particular one, and that was it. You know, he was like, yo, this is the record. So I didn't know what the record was going to be until the vocals was laid on it. But if I look at it for real from a standpoint, the original record was talking about sex in the first place. The original sample, it was talking about dating. And
it was.
So that was, huh?
I said it was.
Yeah, the original sample was it was this man going on a date with a woman, and how he took her out and spent like $15 and $16 because that's all they had to spend back then. And he was tight because she was tight because he ain't want to give her none at the end of the date. So it turned into that was the message coming out of that record. And then how ironic, by the time 50 made the record with Kim, it was a sex record, So the same essence carried over, and that's
crazy.
The same exact essence carried over.
And I know you've said before that you express everything through your music. Your joys, your sorrows, your pain, your lust, all of that through your music. So that's not too surprising. Did the naysayers when you were making that, the people that told you to throw it away, did they come back and have anything to say afterwards, or did you like?
Oh hell yeah! They was on my doorstep. It was like yo, I didn't see that one happening. I'm like, yo, it all takes time. You got to build and construct it, and you got to be patient because you don't know where it's going to come from. You know what I mean? And I'm glad I didn't throw it away. I'm glad I didn't take that advice.
Right.
But the one thing I was really, really tight about was that record could have been even bigger if they made the video for it.
Oh wow!
So what that goes to show is that was hip hop at its purest. It was hip hop that didn't even need a video, and it still sprung as big as it did.
Right.
See
I didn't
what I'm saying?
I didn't even know there wasn't a video to it. But I'm not on the videos like that. I didn't know that there was. Wasn't.
Because wasn't something what happened around that time with them, right? Like, wasn't there some kind of fallout or issues?
Yeah, everybody had issues with that record because first Trita was on the record. Then 50 didn't like Trita on the record. So he pulled her off.
Right.
Oh wow!
And then we went to Little Kim. She got on the record, so that became the final record. But then Dre didn't want that record on the album because that was supposed to go on 50's first album. And then that record sat around for a little bit.
Oh wow!
So 50 being the businessman that he is, he ran to Atlantic and said, "Look, I'm hot right now. I got a record for Kim. She could put it on her new album." And then that's what happened. And then throughout that whole time, that had me ticked off because nobody told me that, I'm selling you the beat 50 for 10,000, and then here you go, y'all go because you're hot, go flip it over to Atlantic for 100,000. You know what I'm saying? And nobody said nothing to me about it.
Wow.
So it was a whole lot of, it was a whole lot of mess with that record. But no matter what, it still prevailed and it still was a hit. So, I was thankful for that. You can't get everything all the time, but, it rang bells for me. And, even during the long run, I still gained from it. So, sometimes it's a bumpy road to get there.
Right.
That's
it's a bumpy road to get there sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy how that works sometimes. Before, Doc, I just want to ask you one thing too before we continue. I'm curious as to, do you consider yourself? Would you say you're a producer or a beat maker?
Oh, definitely a producer. That's my motto. I am a producer.
Okay.
So, a beat maker can't go in and construct the record and guide the artist and put the ideas in their head of what they should be doing on the record and how, or even at the end of the day, make sure that they piece the record together, whereas the mixing and the engineering factors are there on an expert level. So, beat makers, they sit in their house with their headphones on and they pin out a beat, and then they got to give it to somebody to come up with the rest of the picture. So,
right.
And in my case, I'm definitely a producer because most of the artists that I've worked with, I've been in the studio with them, and they took advice from me. And, I set up the format of the record, and I told some of them what to do and how to do it or what not to do and what type of record to make you know. So yeah, I'm definitely a producer. I'm on the same level as Dre. I'm on the same level as Primo. I'm on the same level as the Neptunes. You know what I mean? The only difference is my machine hasn't been fully established yet. So you know, this is like the race between the tortoise and the hare. You know, I'm just moving a little bit slower and a little. I move a lot more careful. That's all.
Right.
Because I've done seeing what this industry could do.
Yeah, definitely. And the reason why I'm asking, I mean, I considered you the same as well myself, but I'm asking because I see nowadays, especially, a lot of cats that, especially the younger ones coming up, that call themselves or feel like as if they're producers, but really, in reality, what they are beat makers. And, sometimes I feel like they might not really know what the difference is between the two. You know what I mean? So that's really why I wanted you to touch on that real quick.
Well, everybody wants the bigger title. Everybody wants the bigger title, which is a producer. But, a lot of the people today, all they're doing is going into the programs and using, using what's already there and just putting it together and saying they made it. You know what I mean? I produced this, but you didn't because that was already produced. All you're using is, loops out of the machine. And like I explained before, producing, you have to really go in there. You really have to vibe with the artist. You really have to, you have to contribute as much to that record as the artist is contributing with their lyrics. And that's basically it, Sometimes a producer don't even have to construct the beat. Sometimes a producer could drag other producers in, the right producers, put the record together, you know what I mean, and call the shots like a quarterback.
Yeah,
okay.
That's also
kind
producing.
Kind of like what Puffy does.
Never touched a beat in his life, but he knew all the right. He knew all the right producers. He came in. If he heard something he didn't like, he might suggest one or two things here and there, but he pulled the right people in to organize the situation. And that alone, that satisfies you as being a producer. There was times Quincy Jones didn't even touch the record himself, but he knew the orchestration to bring in. He knew the players to bring in. He might have just wrote the song, but all in all, he produced the whole situation.
Right. I definitely agree. There's they always give like Diddy a lot of slack about that and stuff like that, but I feel like people are just not understanding what the function of what exactly a producer does. They think that it's just them hands-on actually creating the beat, but if you're creating the people and putting them together to create the beat, you're still producing.
Exactly. That's like Broadway production. It takes somebody who's in that mind frame to know how to pull everything together, and they got a production.
Right, exactly.
Right. Okay. So I want to get into, the Audiodrome project and what you're doing with that. So this is a producer track project. You've got some features, some guests on there. What can you tell us about it? What's your vision?
Well, Audiodrome, I had that in my head for I'd say a good 4 or 5 years now. And the vision behind Audiodrome, it was just to encompass some real feel-good music, to introduce new faces. I like to compare it to the Chronic, like Dre's Chronic, how when Snoop and them came out, that he put a brand new face on the map. He introduced, new people to us. And, it took the boredom out of hip-hop because now we got this whole new team of people coming through over some dope tracks. That's going to open up the lane. And, it allows us to not have to resort to the same old thing anymore. So that was my vision. It's just, let me give them some dope beats, some real quality beats, music that I would find the right people who would know how to rock over the music that I give them, as opposed to just trying to sell tracks. See, because this now becomes a launching pad for me. and the people that I have on the album. So, you know, sometimes we're trying to sell tracks to these artists that are already established, and they're not feeling what you're bringing them because they're looking for a particular sound, and it has to sound like this, it has to sound like that. I'm doing the inverse. I'm making the sound that the people are going to rock to. This way, the audience can see, oh, okay, by the time the sound blows, I want a beat like that, or give me a beat like that. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's just it's a different approach. It's a different approach. And if you hear the right people that I get to rock on the beats, you know what I mean? It'll make sense to everybody else that's out there.
Okay. So we know you recently dropped a single. What can you tell us about the release date? Do you have any tour dates planned yet?
What we're gonna really do is we're gonna let this single bubble. It's called First Time Ever, featuring my man G Snyder and AB Money. AB's a platinum writer and producer himself. You know, he came from a group called Reading is Fundamental back in the day, and they were called Riff. So they rocked out with Easy Mo B. Easy Mo B brought them out. And, I say, yeah, pardon me. It's Rapping is Fundamental.
Okay.
Both things actually, it's correct both ways. Both things actually.
Yeah, they both apply. Reading is fundamental when we were in school. I remember that.
So I was like, damn, that's kind of interesting name.
Yeah, they changed it to Rapping is Fundamental.
It is fundamental.
So we just dropped that video like two weeks ago. We're doing good numbers on the video views. We're doing good numbers on radio. You know, we're added to a couple of stations in major rotation. That right there is a big plus because once, you know, one or two stations add you in major rotation, then, you know, it starts to trickle. So this might be one of those records.
How did you do that?
Like I said it before, it takes money. Yeah, I have the right radio guy. You know what I mean? Somebody who does radio, somebody who works radio. There's a person, you know, for every aspect of this business that has a specialty. So, you know, I had to make the investment on getting a good radio guy who knows how to do radio and get us in all the mix show. Hit the mix shows, hit the you know, the CDs, the main radio shows. So, you know, it's a campaign. So
we definitely got you in the mix over here. And a lot of our audience are the types that don't much listen to the radio. So we definitely got you on this side too.
Good, that's appreciated. And you know, it's just I'm going out here to have fun right now. I'm putting my 2 cents in the game, you know?
That's what's up. And a valid 2 cents it is for sure. I mean, you know, like I said, you've been one of these guys that's been out here doing it and doing major things for a long time, but hasn't really been out in the limelight. So I'm very excited for this project, and I know a lot of our listeners are and will be as well. When did you start going by Fantom, and how did that come about? What led to the name change?
Oh, man, the name change really came about when I started producing. It was about, we fell back for a little bit, you know, between UMCs and the era I started producing. So in order to come back out, I wanted to reinvent myself. And that was around the time where Phantom of the Opera was out. I heard a story about this ship named Fantom from Paris, but it was spelled with an F. And, you know, I just started putting things together, and it felt good. You know, it felt real good. So I just said, yeah, all right, I'm going to be Fantom. And then I'm going to be Fantom of the Beat. And that was the whole, you know, it was a simple process. You know, as creative as we are, we could come about anything and make it sound good, you know, make it work. So, and it worked for me, you know. And then I started taking on this persona where the whole limelight thing wasn't mine. You know, it wasn't my thing to want anymore. I'd rather the money, not the fame, you know?
Right.
So, you know, any videos that I was in, I like to play low key. Excuse me. Low key, you know. Give me 2 or 3 cameo shots. Let me just show my face real quick. Whoever knows, they're gonna catch it, you know. And I just started taking on that persona, and that was basically it.
How they say, I'd rather be the Mac in the back than the chump in the front, right?
I heard that.
Not calling nobody chumps, but you know, you get the gist. Go ahead.
Yep, I heard that. The thing is to be on an executive level. You know, I don't need to be shining all over the place. My whole thing was becoming an executive. You know, and those are the ones that sit in the office and count the money as it comes in.
Well, did you by any chance, did you and Kim did you guys talk about that at all, as far as when you guys were maybe going to reinvent yourself or come back into the game? Or did you guys talk about that, like kind of coming in and sort of people not really know? Because Kim, I mean, for me personally, when he came out with, like, NY Oil, like, in the beginning, I didn't even know that was him.
Exactly.
You know, so, like, did you guys do that, like, consciously together, or was it just 2 separate ideas? No,
it was two separate. Like I said, we had to fall back a little bit after UMCs. UMCs was a real distasteful ending in our mouths, right. You know? So we just pulled back a little bit and just started. We did it once. We could think of it again and figure it all out. So even then, Fantom and NY Oil did songs together. You know, we changed our names and we both did songs together. And then, you know, we veered off. Kim wanted to be that NY Oil character. You know, I wanted to be Fantom of the beat. Right. And that's all it was, you know. And then even at that time, we didn't mesh anymore. You know, we kind of, you know, we just wanted to pursue our own venture in this. Mm-hmm. Friends, always, but, you know, we just had different approaches to it. So we didn't, you know, together to say, yo, let's change. It just kind of happened over the time, you know. You know, we was doing family lives, you know, and living that until, I guess, the day came that we were both fed up and we just said, nah, we got to do something that's going to shake the people, something that's going to, you know, bring happiness to my heart again as far as this music is concerned.
Right. Now, that's dope. It's dope, man. I like I said, even like with you, honestly speaking, there was a couple of times that I came across your name as Fantom of the Beat. Didn't know that was, you know, you from the UMCs until like a little bit afterwards, and the same thing happened with Kim. You know, I heard NY Oil. I went to a Brooklyn hip-hop festival one day, and somebody brought him out on stage and introduced him like that. And I remember me and my boys were just like, oh, shit, because like I said, we were fans of UMCs, you know, and we were just like, oh, shit, that's the dude from the UMCs. Like, that's how we found out. So it's dope. Like, basically what I'm trying to say, what you guys did, it worked and to the T. Like, it's just, we appreciated you as you as an artist. So that's what it goes to show. You know, it's not the name, it's just you guys are dope with the music.
Yep.
Now that's not a formula that's new neither, because there's a few people in the game that did that. You know, some people came out with one-hit wonders, disappeared. Next thing you know, they're the manager of the biggest pop group, you know? And you'd be like, was he in a rap group before back in the day?
Right.
That's what that is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. True,
so, and it still happens for me. You know, people looking at me like, by the time they realize who Fantom is, you know, and they go back, you know, it's a shocker because they didn't expect it. But little do they know, I was the one creating those beats back then anyway, me and RNS, so it ain't nothing new.
See, and that to me kind of speaks to the difference between, you know, you have an artist that is manufactured or produced and someone that's just got it in their bones. Like if you've got that in your soul and it's just in you, it don't matter what name you come out under. If you have that creativity, something to say, something to express, it's going to come out, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. If it's just in you, it's in you.
And two, sometimes people get bored of who you are. So if you come out reinvented, you know what I mean, to them, that's some new person on the scene, you know? Until it's too late, then they realize, oh, that's the same dude. Gotcha. Be like, I gotcha.
That's dope. That's dope. And I mean, think about the freedom too, you know, because if you come out and you have one certain kind of style, one certain kind of sound, you know, and people want to categorize you or typecast you into that role, but you know, if you can press pause on that at any given time, and then you come out under whatever reinvention you want to come out with, whatever image you want to come out with, and then, you know, I think that's dope. You stay in control of how you want to present, right?
Right.
How you want to show up.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, that goes to say that when I came out as Fantom, I ended up started doing some R&B beats. You know what I mean? Nobody expected that. So that allowed me to express myself, you know, in different areas of making music.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. I want to tell you, can you recall or share with us maybe, let's say, one of your favorite or memorable session that you've had with an artist?
Oh, wow. I'm going to tell you right now, I would probably say nothing tops my UMC days, because that was just me, Kim, and R in the studio on our own, just coming up with what we had to come up with, being creative. I mean, the late nights, the early mornings, the whole process that album took. That was my, I'd say, best experience. But after that, I would say Buster was one of my greatest experiences too, because Buster likes to listen as well. I remember when he got the first beat, he got a cassette tape. That's when we were still putting cassette tapes out. So I gave him a cassette tape with like 5 beats on it, and his management called me like 2 days after that, and we were in the studio that quick. So while we was there, you know, he's really, really, you know, when we get up in there, he likes to work, and he loves ideas. He loves you to love his ideas as well, you know.
All right.
So that was a nice bonding session, you know. I got to get into his mind and really see how he thinks and pull the record together. Yeah, those are my two most favorite, fondest memories. But all through it all, it's all dope. It's all a blessing. I'm appreciative of every and each moment I get to sit in the studio and work, you know?
True. Now, what is it that inspires you to still, you know, want to make music now? Out of all this time that you've been through and the different ups and downs, and, you know, what creates that fire in you to keep making music?
I want to say one thing is the desire to be appreciated, the desire to be recognized to the fullest. Music keeps me young, you know. It's like I said, you could be a producer. You can't always be a rapper, you know, forever. But you could be a producer forever as long as you're making heat, you know.
Right.
And you know, I just thrive off of it. You know, it keeps me going. It's something that I'm good at. You know, like math has always been, you know, my favorite subject. So it all works hand in hand. Music, math. I even do my own wiring. You know, I got work as an electrician. You know, degrees. I graduated from school as an electrician. So anything that's technical, you know, I tend to draw to. And music is one of those. So if I'm not doing electric or, you know, it's got to be music because it's the same. It's that concept, you know, add, divide, multiply, you know, raise up the level, lower the levels, you know, it's a numbers game. So
right.
That's just that stuff that's instilled in me. That's just my makeup, you know, and it, like I said, I'll never give it up for nothing. I could always be a producer as long as I'm putting out what needs to be put out.
Right.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I just want to say, like, on behalf of you know, myself and the producer Doc and all of our listeners and followers, that we appreciate that you guys, you know, you like yourself are still making music, because I feel that sometimes I guess you could say that the hip hop industry forgets about us and think that like this generation doesn't listen to hip hop no more, or we don't, you know what I mean? Like, we got to a certain point that we don't listen to hip hop, and it's not like that. Like, you know, we're still around. So it's like the artists that we grew up with, we tend to hope that they still put out some music for us. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Because the
like
music that they put out, you got it right. You're on the right path. Like I can't relate to the music that they putting out because it's for kids. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm in my 40s, so what? You ain't gonna see me doing the Dougie. Like, I don't do them dances. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need grown people music, and there's still enough grown people hip hop out there.
Yeah, but I don't. I mean, I guess I kind of understand a little bit why the industries, I guess, they feel that way, because it's always sort of been said that hip hop is like a young, you know, type of culture.
Young man.
So I mean,
sport,
right? Like, I guess I somewhat understand why they focus so much on it like that, but it's like you said before, the era of music that you listen to, like the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Like, I enjoy it. Like, I'm a huge Motown fan. I love I love Motown and that whole era. And, you know, like, if I hear that the Temptations are playing somewhere, like, I'm there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I feel the same way with hip hop. If Rakim, KRS, you know, Nas, anybody from the generation that I came up from are performing somewhere or put out new music, then I want to go get it or check it out. And there has to be. You can't tell me that there's no money in that for the industry to not focus on it. You know, it has to be.
It's still a lane for it. You know, it's out there just like everybody else is touring, you know, doing shows. Hip-hop artists could do the same thing. Older hip-hop artists could do the same thing. The one thing that you did mention, though, was hip-hop is a young man's sport. But this is the way I see it. It's a young man's sport, but it takes veteran coaches. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
It takes a veteran coach to come out. Right. You know what I mean? Let the young kids play, but wouldn't it be much better if you had veteran producers behind them that mold everything? You know, because what they're coming up with right now, to me, is just not making too much sense at all. So there's nothing wrong with letting the youngest do what they do, but give them more, help them with the substance. Give them more to, you know, to reach for. Give them more to say. Give them, you know, help them with all of that. You know, if you letting one young kid lead the other, they coming up with, you know, whatever they come up with. And that's it. It don't necessarily mean it's going to have that substance. But that's my whole aim is I like the young kids, but let me give you a crazy beat and you come up with these kind of lyrics. You know what I mean? Take it back to when lyrics were lyrics.
Yeah.
Stop saying the same thing over and over. You know, that ain't no record.
You know, it's funny because I've you know, we've kind of had this discussion as far as this generation and compared to the others, and I kind of like, for me, like, to make sense of it all, and maybe you could tell me if this is correct or not, but what's going on in let's say in the world itself, like just the atmosphere and just the way things are, is kind of like a reflection to the music that's being made now, as far as in hip hop. I feel like everything has made such a shift with the social media and everything, and what kids are into, and it just, to me, it reflects in the music. and I feel like the creativity is sort of at a certain level because, again, of the things that the kids are into these days. Like, we didn't have that much back then, so we had to be creative to entertain ourselves. Now it's like everything's right there, so it's just like, I don't know. I'm not saying that that's the total reason, but I feel like it has something to do with it.
There's a whole lot going on right now, especially when it comes to social media. And like I said, times have changed. It evolved, but I think it's an unruly evolvement, you know? It's just too much. There was things that we weren't even supposed to be doing, you know what I mean, when you're in hip-hop. Now, they're doing anything and everything, and that's what's leading the kids now, you know, and that's the point that I'm trying to make. I think we're leading them in the wrong direction, and the way that a lot of this music is being presented and put out there, that's all the kids got to see right now. So of course they're going to follow what the culture is exposing them to.
Right.
And like I said, you need some veteran coaches out there because, you know, if not, it's almost like they're going to run into doomsday in a second, you know, and that's the thing that I don't want to see. Like, I think the music got to be saved. I'm not taking it back to the days where, you know, our parents were saying, oh, that hip-hop stuff is, oh, that ain't no real music. You know what I'm saying? Because each generation, you know, they got their own thing. So I don't even think they call it hip hop no more right now. I think that name is even getting ready to change. You know what I mean?
That's an interesting point.
Yeah, don't say that, man.
No, well, you know,
they're trying to make that one not extinct.
Might be something different. I was talking to my son. You know, my son's 17. And he explained it in a way that kind of made sense, where it's like, you know, all this unruly part of where they've got the culture and their piece of it now is more like the rock stars back in the 60s and 70s, just that wild mentality than like our hip hop culture, you know, like they seem to be more the type to chuck a TV out a hotel room window than anyone from like our era, right? But
that's all those blue pills they be taking.
Yeah, all of them
blue
something.
pills.
All them something.
Oh man.
Well, like even now, even now, you know, pop artists don't want to just be pop artists no more without having rappers on their stuff. You know what I mean? And vice versa. So, you know, everything changes. Everything changes. You just gotta be in the runnings. If that's what you're gonna, you know, if that's what your love is, just be in the runnings. And even if you still make like even the beats that I make, you know, Kanye still makes those kind of beats. That ain't not, you know what I mean? We still on the same wave. It's just a matter of being ready for when your opportunity comes.
Right, gotcha. Now, I want to ask you this, so that you also for any of the younger ones that might listen. Sometimes I go through this myself. Like, you know, we have this platform, you know, we do different shows, have interviews, and like I said, Maker Music in particular is dedicated to hip-hop culture. That's what we base this platform on. And there are times where, like, sometimes you kind of get a little bit discouraged with the way things are, and you say to yourself, like, you know, why even do this, or why should I continue to do this when the culture's so crazy or so messed up, right? But then you try to find your purpose in doing it. Now, as an artist like yourself, with a different climate and different changes, I know you already said that you love doing what you do, which is why you continue. But what advice would you give to somebody that gets discouraged when they can't get their music on the radio or they can't get their beats heard? You know, what would you tell them to stay, you know, kind of advice would you give them so that they can continue with their passion?
Well, you got to put in the same kind of effort if you was going to school to be a doctor or a lawyer. You know, it ain't going to come overnight. You got to put work in. And each move that you make is chiseling at the whole, you know what I mean? It's chiseling at the whole mountain. So eventually that mountain's going to be broken down. But it's a learning process as you go. You got to learn, you know, you got to learn the moves to make. you gotta be steadfast and you know, like the only one who loses is the one that gives up. That's all. You know, eventually your time is gonna come, and you're gonna learn as you go, and you're gonna know the steps to make eventually. But this ain't an overnight process, because you know I can tell you for fact, there's been many groups that been out, and you think they weren't grinding it out for like 5 years before that, before they even were heard. So, you know, this is something you got to have diligence in. You know, this is a test to your health and your wealth and your mental state. And, you know, sharpen your swords and go out there and fight. You got to fight for it, just like anything else.
Word.
So
I got kind of an off the wall question for you. You know I'm good for these, but so you know there was a UMC's poster on the wall in Martin's home on the set of the TV show Martin, which you know was widely popular back in the 90s and whatnot. Did you and Kool Kim know that was going to be on there, or did you come to find that out in some other way?
We knew, because that was the beginning of, you know, that was the beginning of Martin. So before the show started, they was just getting their props ready and all of that. And we were signed to Flavor Unit at the time. So they came to us to ask, you know, for the right to use the the show. So,
oh, wow.
You know, at that time we didn't realize how detrimental that was going to be to us, how good it was going to be. But sure enough, that was it. My face is on that show every time it came on.
Every time.
We had good responses and reviews on that.
Yeah.
And even
that's great.
That's etched in stone, because all they do is keep syndicating Martin all over the place. Still, you know what I mean? It's playing all over. Still. So that's one of those gifts that keep on going.
Now, I mean, you said they came and asked you about it, but like, where did that idea? You know, why the UMCs? Like, why that poster?
I don't know. They came to our management company and asked for it. I guess we was hot at the time, you know, one to grow on.
Yeah.
Blue cheese was bubbling.
Right.
And Martin was a new show. And don't forget, cross colors. We always wore cross colors.
Right.
Oh, word.
If you look at the show, you know, they always had the colorful gear and all of that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And Martin comes from that School Days and Spike Lee joints and all the colors, and you know what I mean? So I guess that's what appealed to them.
That's what's up.
That's cool, man. Yeah, no, listen, man. So, I mean, again, we've been on for a while. Like we said earlier, we want to respect your time. You know, please just, you know, if there's anything else that you want to touch on as far as the your new projects and where they could find it at when it's coming out, where they could follow you at. You know, please go ahead, or anything else that you want to touch on.
Definitely. I'm definitely at Fantom Music, Audiodrome on Instagram. Facebook, you can catch my page at FOTB space FANTOM. This is that thing that I got to get better with, because I got it all set up, but I'll be forgetting them sometimes. At Instagram at Fantom of the Beat, and at Twitter at Fantom of the Beat. So
and we have all of this, and we'll put all the links when we post the interview as well. So it'll all be up there.
Definitely.
And the Audiodrome is definitely slated for July. I'm still working on some songs, you know, but you know, if it gets pushed back a little bit, that ain't gonna be bad neither. But that album that's gonna be a good, you know, fully produced by me album. You're gonna have some older guests coupled with some new talent, you know. I went back to my Staten Island crew, and I just did a record with Pop the Brown Hornet and King Just.
All right.
They still got fire.
King Just.
All right. All right.
And those are some of those artists that never really got that full shine either. You know what I mean? But
yeah. Yeah, that's funny that you said King Jessica when you guys were talking about the Wu and all of that scenario, and I was trying to remember his name, man. Like, I remember the song. I couldn't remember his name for nothing because I wanted to ask you about him. Because he catch a lot of slack for, like, the song that he came out with. Like, I remember hearing a lot about him trying to kind of sound like the Wu or something like that.
They was comparing him to Method. So, but his song buzzed though. His song was a good song. Yeah, everybody was on that record.
Word, hell yeah. Nah, it was definitely a hit. Word, damn.
So, you know,
nice.
I said, let me take a good shot. Let me see what y'all up to right now. And the record that I did with them is really dope too, and it's not dated. It sounds, you know what I mean? It sounds like now. So, you know, I just took the chance with different personalities, different artists, female, male alike, you know. So we're gonna see what this album do. And like I said, I'm not looking for that big payday in the sky, you know what I mean? I'm not racing nowhere. I'm taking my time. I'm doing what I need to do, and I'm just trying to put out something that's good and that the people, you know, want to pull up to, you know, want to get on it. And that's going to be a good representation of what I really do.
Cool. That's cool, man. That's cool. I can't wait to hear it, man. And like Doc said, you know, we're definitely going to have that up on our website for you.
Good.
You know, and keep that going. So just
I'll definitely be one of the first to get it.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. Really do. As soon as you send it, man, it'll be on blast. Now, real quick before we let you go, man, we have a little segment that we do. You know, it's called "What's Your Favorite." So we're gonna ask you a couple of things. We're gonna ask you a couple of things that you can answer, you know, one or two words, and then you know, we'll get ready. We'll take it away from there. But all right, I'm gonna start it off, Doc, with real quick. Favorite artists that you haven't worked with that you would like to work with at some point.
I got two. I got two of them. So right now, the top one is Kendrick Lamar. I definitely like to work with him, and I want to work with J. Cole. Now I got one more too, J. Electronica.
What? Yeah. That would be
J. Electronica.
J. Electronica, J. Cole, and Kendrick.
Damn, you know, maybe you should try to get that J. Electronica. Maybe you could get him to put out an album, man. Like, we've been waiting for so long.
Man, for real.
Yeah, man. I'm still stuck on Exhibit C. I can't. Ain't nothing else.
Yeah, that was tight. Yep.
All right. Favorite beat you've heard, not produced by yourself, that you wish you would have done?
I gotta go back with this one. I wish I did the Symphony. By Molly Moore.
Oh.
Yeah.
Word up.
When he had all of them rapping on it.
Yeah.
I don't care who's first. Yep. I wish I did that beat.
Damn.
I wish I did. See, Molly's my favorite producer. So
okay.
Between that and Eric B. for President, because Little Quiet as Kept, Molly really did that. But I wish I did that one too.
Right. We'd be for President. Huh. Favorite sneakers to wear back in the days?
Oh, that's easy. Huaraches. We was on our Huaraches. You know how we was sporting the colors?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. I didn't expect you to say that. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, Huaraches was my favorite.
Okay.
I had all different colors. Different colors to go with all my different cross color suits.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you guys were heavy on the cross colors a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
That's because we was getting it for free when we first came out. They endorsed us.
There you go.
All right.
We had our whole gear. All our gear was cross color.
Hey, fuck it, man. Why not? That's cool, man. All right. I have two more. Well, actually, Doc, I think you said you had one too, right?
No, I don't have none.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you said yeah. I got two more for you.
Now, this is your section, sir.
No, okay. I got you. I have two more for you. Favorite spot in Staten Island for breakfast?
Oh, wow. I'm going to have to say the Denny's on Forest Avenue. Yep, it was the Denny's on Forest Avenue. But I ain't been out there in a long time, so I don't know if it's still there anymore.
Yeah. You want to know?
And then we didn't have like them little mom and pop diners. Everything was, commercial diners. It might have been one or two little hole in the wall spots that were good, but we stayed at the big, the Denny's, the Waffle Houses,
right.
The pancake, I forgot the IHOPs,
Yeah.
That's how Staten Island was.
I'm almost about. I'm gonna before I ask you the last one. I'm gonna share this with you guys. I'm kind of embarrassed actually to even share it, but I have never been to Staten Island as far as going out there and exploring Staten Island. I've never ever been. Now I'm gonna tell you the story.
You drove through, right?
I think once, but here I'm gonna tell you my first time. Hold on.
Damn.
Back when I was younger, right? I lived in Manhattan. I lived downtown on the west side. So, it was, to get to Battery Park was nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we, one time it was a bunch of us, man. We young now. We young. Like maybe this is like, I don't know, 7th, 8th grade, maybe something, somewhere between 7th and 9th grade. So we go to the ferry. we hop the ferry, we jump the, we hop the turnstile, get on the ferry.
Yeah, it was 50 cents back then.
Wait, 50 or a quarter? Yeah, it might have been. But whatever it was,
I don't know. Whatever it was, I ain't paying it.
Nah, we ain't paying it. We hopped over, got on the ferry, took the ferry to Staten Island, and then you get off the ferry, and I don't know. Like I said, I haven't been there, so I don't know what it looks like now. But at that time, I remember we got off the ferry. And it's like you walked out a little bit, and then it was like a street, and
the big street. Yeah,
right. And all I remember was all of us looking down the block, and it just didn't look like anything. You know what I mean? So we just turned around and hopped right back on the ferry. Yeah, it looked so dead at that, at least that area. And
that was
like I said, what's that?
That was the shelter. You was down. Like when you get off the ferry, it's the shelter, and we got a lot of boulevards on Staten Island. You know what I mean? Those big wide blocks. So
right.
Until you get past that and go inside, you don't see the houses and the hills and the small streets and all of that. But you was on one of the main boulevards, so that's where the city hall is and all of that down there.
Well, so that's I'm telling you, brother, that was it was that.
It looked like a ghost town to you. You was like, nah, we ain't going no further.
Hell yeah! So we turned right back around, jumped on the ferry, went back home, and like I said, that was back, man, I don't know, 85, 80 something like that. So there was only one other time, like you said, we did drive. I drove through it once, but man, I'm sorry, man. To us, it felt like if you didn't know anybody out there was really no reason to go out there. There was, I don't know.
Nah, you're right.
Me and my man actually were just talking about this the other day because you have a bunch of stuff coming up, different park jams and things coming up in the summertime. And there's some that takes place out in Staten Island, and every summer we say we're going to go because there's an artist performer that we want to see, and then it's like, damn, that shit is far as hell, though. We forget it. Yeah, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, but
nah, don't worry about it. You you just have to live out there in order to understand the type of experiences we had out there. Like nobody wanted to travel to Staten Island. I had to beg and plead for somebody to come out there and visit me.
Man. I kind of understand and relate though, because like I told you, I'm in Long Island, and when you talk to a lot of people like in the city, Bronx, Manhattan, sometimes I tell them certain parts of Long Island that they don't have a clue, and it's not as far as, let's say, from here to Staten Island. So, I get it.
Yeah.
All right,
and actually, Staten Island, Staten Island and Long Island is kind of similar. Everything is stretched out, far apart. You know what I mean?
It is. But it's just like when you don't know, man. you don't know. But all right, brother. So listen, man. Before I ask you the last one, I want to say once again on behalf of all of us, it's been a pleasure, man. I had a lot of fun. Doc, I'm pretty sure I know you did as well. You're looking forward to this one.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, my pleasure. Thank you both.
Yes, definitely. Anytime. Listen, anytime you have anything you want to say, let us know. But here's the last one for you. So you got to do me a favor. I don't want you to rush to, take your time with it. No need to rush. Think it out very well. But this is the last one for you, okay? And the last one is we want to know, what's your favorite podcast that has a lovely young redheaded and a guy by the name of Uncle E. that you like listening to. Ain't gonna tell everybody else to tune in and make sure they listen to.
So my favorite podcast show is Mecca Music on Get Yourz Radio. That's one.
There you go. Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, 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 ding.
All right, that's the way we do it.
You know it.
Yes, sir.